Hey, welcome everyone. I'm going to actually do a little video here without you having to look at my face for a change. So what I've done is, on the last video you saw me record my vocal takes, and so that's what this track was right here. So I want to actually mute these tracks for now, and I'm going to just show you what I've done. So this is what the original track sounded like before I actually worked on any effects for those. So let's give it a listen. She sits on a bar stool. Actually, let me pan that back to the middle. Night after night, says it is her own, looking for someone to treat her right, looking for the one. Okay, let's do the chorus too. Lonesome Lola, queen of the night, lights her cigarette with the candlelight. She ain't looking for Mr. Right, she's just looking for a little tenderness. Okay, so that gives you an idea. It's just very basic idea of just basically a raw recording. But what I've done since then is I actually went in and added some effects into this. The first one is called VST Dynamics, and let me find it here. There we go. I'd bring it in, and I chose a preset called Ballad Lead Vocals, which sets the compression ratio. So what compression does, it helps, like when you have a performance, you'll have peaks and valleys in the volume of your performance, whether it be guitar or vocals or whatever. So this is just what this dynamics do, which basically is called compression. It lowers the valleys and decreases the peaks to where they're all into a more even ratio. So that's one thing I did. Another thing I did was let's see, added some room dynamics to the vocals. So I'll also show, I actually have two tracks here. What I did was I took the track and copied it into the second track, and excuse me just a second. Okay, and I'd accidentally deleted one of my bass lines there. So so the track 1 and track 2 are basically identical, except let's look at track 2. As compared to track 1. So here's vocals, regular vocals, instrument 1, and you can see They're both ballad lead vocals, so very close to the same settings. Let's see. Yes, they're actually identical, so they're the same settings. I did make a little change in the vocal tracks 2 in the reverb. And what I've done is I've wound up panning vocals 1 hard right, vocals 2 hard left, as you can see right here. And they're the reverb on track 2 is a little bit larger than in track 1, so it gives it a more roomy feel, but while keeping the other side of the stereo spectrum dry. So now let's go to, I've also on these I added the insert pitch correct. Well, as you can tell, I am not the best singer in the world, so what I've done is I've created I used a plugin called Pitch Correct, and what it does, I have it set here. It's a plugin that comes with Cubase and Cubase Elements. This is what I use. They have, you can the different settings format. Actually the format is the resonance your voice makes, so I leave that on, and even when I shift the pitch of my vocal, it preserves the actual quality of my voice, such as it is. And I have it optimized for a male voice. The strong structure is basically in D major, so I just set the scale source to be internal with D major, and what will happen is it will move anytime I'm off of the scale a little bit. It will move the vocal line back to the closest note within that scale, and I was actually closer than I actually thought I was. So with or without it, it's fairly close, but I'm going to actually solo this channel here along with so you can let me turn this off for now, and you can hear what it sounds like. Sits on a bar stool night after night, says it is her own. Okay, it wasn't too bad, but if I turn it back on, you'll be able to see the piano roll here as it goes by, and you'll see how far it had to shift each of the vocals. She sits on a bar stool. Those little yellow lines are actually where it's moving the note to, so that it's right on the note of the chord. She sits on a bar stool night after night, says it is her own, looking for someone to treat her right, looking for the one. Okay, so that gives you an idea. The speed is how fast it changes the pitch, and the tolerance is how sensitive it is. So I have both set. This one's set fairly high. I don't have any transposing. You can actually move the this and shift the entire pitch of the performance up and down the scale. Each point each digit after the point is a microtone, and each digit to the left of the point is a semitone. So if you move it up a semitone, it's like going up a fret on a guitar. So I'm actually going to go down to the next channel, which is vocal track 2. I panned it to the let's see, what I've done here, I've panned it to the opposite side of the stereo spectrum and kept everything the same. I did transpose it just a microtone. So it actually, what you're hearing on these two channels will be just slightly out of pitch, but I'm hoping that will fill out the sound a little bit. So let's give that a listen to. She sits on a bar stool night after night, says it is her own, looking for someone to treat her right, looking for the one. So when you hear that, you notice it's slightly, I mean, it's not even audibly for the most part different, but it adds a slight chorus effect and fills out the vocal performance a little bit, because my vocals need all the help they can get. So I've actually just started a vocal course to sing better, so I can write more songs and be able to pull off whatever vocals I want. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to use this kind of software to help iron out any deficiencies my vocals have. So it's always better to get the performance right in the first place. But if you're not a singer, it helps to have these tools. So I've got that spread left and right on the stereo. So now I'm going down here to the harmony. So it's a unique thing that I've done with that is use the same settings that I have, but what I've done here is I actually transposed the performance here on that channel or that track to be a fifth higher on the D major scale, which is basically what you would consider like a power chord in a guitar, a root fifth power chord. So what I did was created that, so you can hear that this is the same performance that I did, but it's going to be a higher pitch because I transposed it. Lonesome Lola, queen of... Whoops. Let's see here. The night. There we go. I had super high, accidentally turned on a super saturated room sound and sounded okay. Let's hear that again. Lonesome Lola, queen of the night. Now it did make the initial note sound a little bit weird, but it's not a big deal. Let me actually bring those other two tracks in. You can hear them together. Lonesome Lola, queen of the night. So that gives you a better idea how that sounds as a harmony. Let's keep going. Lights her cigarette with the candlelight. She ain't looking for Mr. Right. She's just looking for a little tenderness. So that's basically what I've done so far. This track is got basic room sound. I need to actually work with the there we go, the room sound of this one a little bit. He ain't looking. Let's see. Oops. She ain't looking for Mr. Don't need any pre-delay. Alright. She's just looking for a little tenderness. Scale back the mix a little bit. She ain't looking for Mr. Okay, now. And let's see. Let's hear how it sounds in the full mix. She ain't looking for Mr. Right. She's just looking for a little tenderness. Looking for a little tenderness. She works a factory day by day. Don't make much money, but she says some. So the ability to do pitch shifting and things like that, and fix vocals that are out of pitch, is helpful when I upgrade to the newer version 10, and I plan on moving to the Pro version. I'll get a whole lot more tools, and I can actually drag my the pitch on a specific portion of my performance to wherever I want, and I'll have a lot more flexibility. But this tool is pretty incredible for what it does, and sounds fairly natural, so I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So I'm going to actually leave the video here, and we'll see you next time. I'm actually started working on a solo that leads into the bridge part. So I'm going to have that solo, and then I'll work into the bridge of the song, and then a couple more choruses and an outro solo. So the song is shaping up, and thanks for sticking with me, and hopefully I can pull this thing off. So I'll see you next time. Have a good one.